Hi everyone and welcome to DreamSpace TV here in One Microsoft Place in Dublin. My name is Amanda.
And I'm Corey.
In today's episode we are going to learn all about earthquakes, and we're also going to take on our Maker Challenge, which is going to be for us to design our very own tower.
Brilliant, sounds great. But before we get started on that, let's review our last episode. So in our last episode, we asked you to construct and design your very own endangered animal. We then asked you to create an algorithm that would help identify this animal. But remember, Amanda, an algorithm is just a step-by-step list of instructions that we use to solve problems or for computers to perform a specific task, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
And we use algorithms every single day. So let me think. We probably use them when we're baking.
Yeah,
so if we're baking a cake or something. So I know if I was baking a cake, I would follow the instructions to a T. So I would start from number 1 and I would go all the way down to number 10. Okay?
Otherwise it might not taste very nice.
Exactly. Imagine going from 10 all the way to 1. That wouldn't be a very nice cake. Okay? And from our next episode, we're actually going to be working with algorithms and coding.
Brilliant. So before we do that, let's focus on today. In today's episode, we want to look at earthquakes. So now would be a good time to pause the episode and think, what are earthquakes and why are they caused? So Corey, I think I know that earthquakes are when we have vibrations or the ground shakes.
Yep.
And I know I've heard words about this before, like the epicenter of the earthquake and things, but I'm not actually sure what causes them.
Well, they're caused by tectonic plates that are beneath the Earth's surface, okay? And when these tectonic plates move around, sometimes they actually push into each other.
Okay.
And when they do that, they form rocks. And here's where the problem lies.
Okay.
Because these rocks can shake with humongous force, and this is what causes the earthquake. But you might be wondering, well, Corey, we actually don't get that many earthquakes in Ireland.
Yeah, I've never really, I don't think in school I heard about them in Ireland, but I've definitely heard about them in other places. I know in parts of America, for example, there might be earthquakes.
Exactly. But the reason we don't really feel them in Ireland is because the closest tectonic plates to us is actually far out, thankfully, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. But in San Francisco, for example, they actually lie on what's called the San Andreas fault line. So San Francisco is really, really closely located to a lot of those tectonic plates.
Okay. And that's really interesting, and it relates to today's challenge because in San Francisco and in lots of other places where earthquakes occur, there can be really tall buildings like skyscrapers. And even though earthquakes occur, they don't fall over. So they might shake a bit, they might move, but they're structurally sound enough that they stay stable and they don't actually fall.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what we are going to look at today. So part of today's challenge is for us to use the materials that we have around us, and you might have different materials, remember, in school or at home, to build a tower. We want the tower to be at least 40 centimetres in height and able to withstand a shake. Ooh. And we actually might add one other guideline in this week, Corey.
Right, go on.
And that's going to be that we're going to limit your material use. Doesn't matter what the materials are, but we're going to say try and use a maximum of 10 materials to get that tower built. Okay, so I'm going to have a look at my materials and remembering that I can only use 10 of them. As always, make my plan and then we'll get to it. So I'm going to have a look at my materials here. Okay, so I have some glue and some sellotape over here, which is going to be useful for obviously sticking things.
Yep.
Now, actually on that, the sellotape, when we talk about you only being able to use 10 materials, I think we won't say that a roll of sellotape is 1.
No.
Because that's a bit of a cheat, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So I think what we'll say is a strip, or if you cut off a piece, that counts as 1 material.
I
so
agree.
we are going to be we're going to be strict on that, I think. Another thing is we have some blue tack. So again, we're not going to say the whole thing of blue tack is 1 material. We're going to say a piece of the blue tack. All right. So we have that. I have a bowl. I have some just cardboard from boxes, and I have some paper and things. And then over here, I have some skewers and some markers, lollipop sticks, a few other things that I found when I was looking for this challenge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my plan now for how my tower is going to work, bearing in mind the 2 conditions we've set. Okay, or actually there's 3. One is that I can only use 10. materials. 2 is that it has to be at a height of at least 40 centimeters. It can be taller, but it has to definitely reach 40 centimeters. So my ruler is going to come in handy because I'm going to need to measure that one. And finally, it needs to be able to withstand a shake. So when I build it on my table, I'm actually going to shake my table to see will it stand up and not fall over.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my plan here. Okay. First of all, I need it to be balanced, and I'm not going to put heavy materials on the top, so I'm going to have to think about this carefully.
Yeah.
So I know I had some skewers there, which are handy, so I might use 4 of them.
Yeah.
But if I can, I might try it with 3 first.
Yes.
Because I can only use 10 things. So I might need that extra item.
Good show.
So I'll draw it as if there's 3.
Like a tripod.
Yeah, like a tripod, but bearing in mind that I actually might need a 4th.
Okay.
Okay, so they're my skewers.
Labeling as always.
As always, I would never forget. Okay, now the other thing is we have some card. So I'm going to put some card here. So I'm going to kind of put the skewers through the card. That's going to be near the base, just to kind of hold the skewers in place for me, I think. I'm saying all this as if I know, but I don't know. It'll only be when I do it, if I see if it works or not. And then I had my paper bowl. I think I have a bowl there, so I might use that. I'll use a different colour for that. And I might kind of turn that upside down. So this is my bowl. And I don't know whether I'll see how high that's going to be. I don't know if I'll need some extra height. So up the top there, I might have to add maybe a cup. I don't know if that's going to be too heavy or not, so I might have to go upside down with my cup. I'm going to see, but roughly that's kind of what I'm thinking. Now, I don't know if that's going to withstand a shake. I don't even know if it's going to stand up, to be honest. So we're going to have to do as we always do. As we're going, we're going to have to be problem solving as we go and figuring out what's working and what's not working. But I'm just going to count my items. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. But bearing in mind, that doesn't include sticking.
Sellotape and blue tack and okay.
So I could probably be close enough to my 10 there, I'd say. We might have set ourselves a difficult challenge. We'll see how we get on, Corey.
Okay.
What about you? What materials are you going to use?
So again, my materials are a little bit different. So I do have my toilet roll rolls, which I think are definitely going to come in handy because I can use them because they kind of are like a bit structurally sound. You know, if I put a bit of weight on them.
Yeah.
I also have skewers, which I could use for balance or for height.
Could, yeah, definitely.
So I might do that. Up. I also have, and one thing I did not even notice was the plates. Because I've been just looking at what's on the plates and I never actually realized that I could use the plates. So I think I'm actually definitely going to use the plates for this one. So I'm going to now plan my design and show you exactly what I have in mind.
Let's see how different it is, Corey, now.
Yeah, it's always interesting, isn't it, how people have different visions in mind. So, as I said, I'm actually going to start with a plate on the bottom. Speaking of Titanic plates. And not forgetting to label this time. So this is going to be my plate. Now, what I'm thinking here is I might use the toilet roll rolls. Okay? Now, I have a vision in mind, so keep with me. Okay, so these are going to be the toilet roll rolls. And I don't know quite yet how I'm going to stick them to the plate, but that's something that I can test out later on. Okay, so here we have my toilet roll rolls. Now, I'm going to actually here, I think, use 2 straws. And again, I'm keeping in mind that I'm nearly at my limit so far, so I have to be careful. So here, I'm going to actually have a straw coming up and another straw coming up.
Okay.
Now that might be a little bit risky because the straws aren't very structurally sound. They can be kind of flimsy. But again, we'll see how we go. So these are going to be my straws. And then finally, I'm going to end it with another plate. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to draw my plate. And hopefully that is 40 centimeters. But keep in mind, if I count my materials, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the same as you, I think. but I do need to use some sellotape and some blue tack, so this is going to be a very interesting challenge.
I know, that's going to be the tricky part, isn't it? Because we're using things to stick and each of those things count as materials.
Exactly. Now's a good time for you to pause the episode and plan out your design with the materials that you have at home or in school, remembering that you are limited to 10 materials. Let's get started.
Yeah. How are you getting on over there, Corey?
Well, I just measured it and it is not 40 centimeters.
Okay.
And I only have one more material left.
Oh.
So I have 9 used so far. So I don't know. I'm really
Should
going
we
to
push it out a bit then for people?
I'm not sure what you think.
Well, if you've made your plan at home or in school and you've said, right, 10 materials is the limit, we'll say maybe we'll allow up to 15.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Does that help? That'll help you out?
I think it would.
It would probably help me out too, to be honest. I think from counting what I've left here that I'll probably be bang on 10, but that's at a push. So I think up to 15 would be fine.
Okay.
But the other thing then to maybe review would be, I thought that with my skewers, they were going to be much kind of wider and stronger really for me.
Yeah.
So what I've had to do now is actually bring them in like this to a point.
Oh, okay.
So that's one thing I've just changed slightly, but the materials are coming in useful. I'm nearly there, but yeah, like yourself, I'm not at my 40 centimeters yet, so bit to go. We'll be done shortly.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm finished. Are you finished, Corey?
I am indeed.
So we want to check a few things. We want to see, did we use the required amount of materials or no more anyway? We want to check on our height and we want to do our shake test, remember?
Yes.
So Corey, I'm going to pass over to you. Call out, what's your height of your tower?
Okay, so after I measured mine, it was there and about 42 centimeters.
Okay, brilliant. Well done.
So I am delighted with that. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's actually an ode to the Poolbeg Towers.
Oh, brilliant. You named it as well.
Yes, so I gave it a little name.
Okay,
so,
fantastic. And how many materials did you use, Corey?
Okay, so I used 11, which is okay, because I know it's over the original 10, but remember we said we could use up to 15, so I was like, yes.
Yeah, we can change it.
11.
Okay, perfect. And we'll come back to the shake test in a second. So my height was approximately 50 centimeters. I also used 11 materials actually, because originally when we had said 10, I was like, okay, I'll just sit the straw in the cup. But then when we said we could do up to 15, I said, all right, I'll give myself a bit of tape to stick my straw in. So that got me to my 11th material. And since we're naming them, that's a really good idea. So we might get you to name your towers as well. I'm going to, looking at mine, I'm going to call it the milkshake tower because it looks like a milkshake on top.
It looks delicious.
Now, most importantly, we have to do the shake test. So
okay.
Let's see how we get on. I'll count us in.
Woo.
Now, make sure you're properly shaking that table over there, Corey.
I will.
I hope everyone's watching her. Okay, here we go. I'll count us in. 3, 2, 1, shake. Oh!
Woo! Nice, that's
Oh, I'm so disappointed.
Oh, that's okay.
Looks like I'm going to have to go back and review my design, I think.
Oh,
okay.
I loved it.
Well, maybe you can do better. So what we want you to do is at home or in school, we want you to plan and build out your very own tower, bearing these criteria in mind. It needs to reach at least 40 centimeters in height with a minimal amount of material. So remember, up to 15 materials if you can with your tower. And most importantly, see if you can do what Corey's did and withstand a shake. So unlike mine, which fell over, make sure that you can shake wherever your tower is and it doesn't fall over, it stays standing. Now in the next episode, we are going to be coding and we are going to link what we've done today with our tower to that coding challenge.
That's it for today's episode. We hope that you were able to successfully build a tower that was able to withstand a shake. like mine. Join us next time when we're actually going to delve into some coding. How exciting. Join us then. Bye.
Bye.